Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today and appreciate your patience here. I'm Lisa Gold, she, her, hers. I am the executive director of A4, the Asian American Arts Alliance, and we are very excited to be able to share this information session with you today, because this fellowship um, is just a really important offering, I think, to the community, and we feel very, very fortunate to be able to offer it. So for those of you, I'll run through a little bit. Yeah, so for those of you who aren't familiar with A4, we are a 43-year-old nonprofit organization whose mission is to ensure greater representation, equity, and opportunity for AAPI artists and arts organizations. And we do that through a number of um, different types of programs, including this Jadin Wong Fellowship, which is um, something that we've been doing for I don't even know how many years now, probably close to maybe not quite 10, I should know. But I wanted to share a little bit before we started about Jadin Wong, because this is named after her. And if you haven't looked her up, she was an amazing talent, entrepreneur. She ran away from home and became a performer. She was in films on Broadway. Afterwards, she started her own casting agency, representing people like David Henry Wong, Lucy Liu, Lou Diamond Phillips. In 1979, she organized the first non-traditional casting symposium on Broadway. She's just done so much for so many AAPI performers in our field, and so we're really honored to carry on this tradition in this named fellowship. So. Just so this particular fellowship is for, I'm sorry, one more thing. I was supposed to, I could mention this. I forgot we inserted this slide. So, one of the things that we are working on in order to be more responsive to the community, in addition to offering funding opportunities, which we know is probably the most important thing to artists these days, is, what else we can offer you. So we have community survey going on right now until Friday. So if you could screenshot this or take a picture with your phone and then complete the survey later. It's very brief, but we really, really appreciate your feedback. If you do complete it, you'll be entered into a drawing to win $100. So please take a couple of minutes and share your thoughts with us. Again, we really appreciate it. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk a little bit about, I'm sorry, I didn't talk about the agenda. So basically, I'm supposed to talk about, A4, why we're doing this. I'll give you some information about the fellowship. We'll go through the eligibility requirements, and then we'll talk about what the application looks like, how we'll make the selection, and then the timing. And then after we go through all of that, um, I'll open it up for questions. So you can either drop your questions in the chat or at the end, raise your hand. I will confess I can't necessarily see your questions in the chat as I'm going through the slides. So it's probably best, but Adeline is here, who is our Anjali Jana intern, and she is helping to moderate today's discussion and will flag your questions. So let's get started. So I had mentioned about A4, what we do and who Jadin Wong was. Um, and this fellowship was stipulated by her estate. This is for an emerging Asian American dancer choreographer, 30 years or younger, who seeks to make an impact on the AAPI artistic community to develop new or existing work. Um, this stipulation of the age limitation is not something that we can control. This is This funding we administer on behalf of the New York Community Trust, who holds um, this fund for Jadin Wong's fellowship. So we don't make the rules around that. So in case somebody wants to ask. The award is an 8-month fellowship that offers $10,000 in unrestricted cash if you want to spend it on rent, if you want to spend it on, recording your performances, whatever you want to do, we don't care. Whatever you want to do, it's totally fine. We will offer you a career coach and an artistic mentor. The career coach, we have a couple of people that we've worked with over the years, and they will present them to you. You can have a conversation with them before you decide. And in terms of your artistic mentor, again, we have some people, but it's really up to you, like who you want to work with. And so we will reach out to that person. We pay them, we pay the career coach, and hopefully that will help you develop throughout this fellowship. At the end, uh, we request that you do some sort of presentation. This doesn't have to be like a full-blown production. It could even be a conversation. But we will provide some funding and some assistance. If you do want to do a presentation, we will help you find a location. We'll do our best to support that. But we don't have the funds to do like a full scale, you know, production at the Joyce or something like that. So just keep that in mind. But there are other opportunities and introductions that we can make. One of them is that A4 partners with the 90 Chen Dance Company to present an AAPI showcase during APAP, the Association of Performing Arts Professionals in New York in January. And so that's a huge industry conference, and that's a very well attended showcase. And it's a great opportunity for you to get your work out in front of the world. And so there are a number of opportunities that come along with the APAP presentation. So that's just one of the things that we offer. Um, so I mentioned this is an 8-month fellowship. So what happens is, we have the deadline. Once we've adjudicated all of the applications, we'll inform the selected fellow in May, and they can begin the fellowship in May. They have a few months to work out how they would like to use this time with the career coach. And then that also gives us time to work on securing your artistic mentor. And that will happen probably later in the process. Ideally, we'd love for you to have somebody, in the area who can be there to support you, who can see your work, who can, help you navigate the field. But it's up to you. We're open to that. And then you have a few months to um, schedule and present your program. And again, we are here to talk through that with you. Normally, Justine Lee would be here. She is our program director, and she will be your main point of contact for this. But the snowstorm prevented her from being back in time. So she is en route to New York right now. But she will be the person that you talk to the most. Let's see. Okay, so after that, there is an online application that is available through Jotform. You can save your work as you go along. The deadline is Wednesday, March 25th, just before midnight. Don't wait till the last minute. We cannot accept applications that come in after the deadline. It will be shut down at midnight, so please get your work in before. There's a full list of questions on the website that outlines everything that we ask, so you can work on it offline and then just paste your responses into the form. But I do recommend like pulling together your video any passwords that are required to view it, doing all of that offline, and then just pasting it into the application, which is reviewed by a panel of 5 professionals in the field. They are dancers and presenters, people who have extensive experience in the dance world. And I'll tell you, like, we've had some really interesting people in the past. I think actually you can probably go onto the website to see who some of the panelists were. People from Jacob's Pillow to Works in Process and all sorts of great Joyce Theater, different types of presenters and artists as well. So it's really good even if I'll say that even if you aren't selected to win, you are getting your work in front of important people in the dance field who do make decisions. And this happens to me all the time. Like I serve on a lot of panels and I've reviewed things in the past. And maybe the artist or the organization did not receive that grant, but I've gone back to them because I remembered them and they were right for something else. So don't be disheartened if you aren't selected for this. But, like I said, it is good to know that your work is being viewed by people who can make a difference. Okay, so let's talk about eligibility. So again, you have to be 30 years or younger at the time that the fellowship starts in May. And we want at least 2 years of experience that show that you have presented work, that this isn't your first rodeo. So we want to see that. This is specifically for an artist of Asian descent. And how you define that, we are very open to people who self-define as Asian American. Um, we want someone who has dance and choreography experience and who shows promise and dedication to the field, not only to their individual craft, but to somebody who plans to make a difference in the community as well. So, just to recap, you must be of Asian heritage, and we make that like I said, very, very open. Your birthday must fall on or after May 2nd, 1995. So, the 30 years of age, that is not our criteria but we do have to enforce it. And so we've tried to make it as broad as possible by making it not as of January 1st this year, but as of the day that the fellowship begins, which is May 2nd. Because this is through the New York Community Trust, you must be a resident of New York City and based in New York City during the fellowship period. We do this because we want you to be able to take advantage of all of the things that we offer you, such as discounted rehearsal time and other things. Sometimes we're working towards free rehearsal space, but we're still trying to lock that in. But there are things that are based in New York that you need to be able to take advantage of for this fellowship. We also ask that you are not enrolled in a degree granting program in a field related to dance during this period. If you are seeking a postgraduate degree in microbiology, that's fine. But really, this fellowship is for people who really don't have access to things that an artist may have access to in a dance program. So if you have studio space, you have rehearsal space, you have people to talk to, when you are in a dance program at an accredited university, and you may not have that once you leave. So this is really to help people continue into their career. Um, we ask again that you have at least 2 years of experience because it's a very competitive fellowship and our winners are very exceptional. So we just ask again that you have a little bit of experience under your belt, also to take advantage of the fellowship fully. Next, I'll talk a little bit about the components. The application, we do ask for some personal and demographic information, and then we ask for a letter of recommendation, your resume, a brief biography, and a headshot. This is just to make it easy for us in case you're selected, then we can just automatically get the press release ready to go and load up the website and all of our supporting materials. We have a few narrative questions that we've simplified this year that we want you to answer, and then some work samples that we want you to provide. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we go on. In terms of the personal information, um, items that are asterisked here are required. We ask your name, your pronoun, your birth date, your email address, a phone number so that we can contact you if you are selected, and your address. Again, you need to be in one of the five boroughs of New York City to be eligible for this award through the New York Community Trust. We ask that you specify your ethnicity. These are the categories that we have, and you can be a combination of all of these things. Um, okay, oh, and then next we ask for a resume, a bio. The bio, your resume is really for the panelists to get a sense of what you've done, how active you've been, and the bio is for us to use. It's a shortened version, more of a narrative that we can use again on social media, on programs, on the website, things like that. We ask for a headshot. If you have a credit of the photographer, we love that. We always love to credit all of our artists, so we ask that you include that if you can. And then we ask for a letter of recommendation. And this is important to have somebody who really understands your work or can speak to your trajectory or what makes your work unique. So it's more important to have somebody who is familiar with your work than to have, like, the Broadway dance captain of some show. We really want somebody who can speak to you as opposed to, a famous name. That doesn't carry as much weight. Because again, this is all about you. We want to get a better understanding of you, your work, why, what sets you apart, what makes you different, what sets you apart from the other applicants. So to have somebody who can write to that is very important. Um, we love to know, other information in case people want to check out your Instagram or your website. You don't have to provide this information, but it is helpful. Okay, and so now the meat, the narrative questions. So we want to know what your statement is. What is your work about? Why do you make dance? How is it unique? How do you view your work in the pantheon of dance experiences? What are your influences? So that's actually an optional statement, is to talk about any historical legacies or cultural influences on your work. Again, it's not a required question, but it does help the reviewers and it helps differentiate you and again can add value to your application. Um, we want to understand your growth, your trajectory. What do you have planned? Why are you committed to this career? What are your goals? How is this fellowship going to help you achieve those goals? So, again, we would love to know how this is going to make a difference to you. That's the whole goal of this, is to support somebody who's really making an effort to achieve in this field. And, if you have 20 different awards to your credit that appear on your resume, why do you need a 21st? What is this going to be? How is this going to impact you and how is it meaningful to you? So we want to know your trajectory and how we're going to be able to support that. Um, and we'd love to know what you're going to work on as well during this. And again, like you may change, like the project that you started out, you may, be have an idea that you want to work on something, and then you start talking to your creative coach or your artistic mentor, and you may change. And that's totally fine. We're not going to hold you to that. We hope that artists evolve and adapt. That's what being creative is. It's going with that flow. So just want to put that out there that you're not held exactly to what you're going to say in your um, hoped project. But we do want to see that there's a commitment and a lineage, and that it does make sense. It's not like, oh, I've been doing tap for my whole career. Now I'm going to move into hip hop, and this is going to help me. I mean, that's fine as long as you explain that. But again, we want to understand like what your goals are and how this will help you. And a big part of this is the community impact. Like I said, this was named after Jadin Wong, this fellowship, who was a lion in the field. She had a talent agency that represented, she was like the go-to talent agent for Asian Americans. She had over 400 clients, and she really made a difference. And so, we hope that you don't have to start a talent agency, but we hope that you want to contribute to the community in some way through your work. And you can, however, whatever that means to you, that's fine. We just, we want to know. Um, and then the fellowship benefits, we just want to know how you want to use it. Again, there's no judgment here. Like if you say, oh, I'm just going to pay my rent with it, or, I'm going to use it to travel, to study this particular form of dance that I've been pursuing, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Again, it just gives us a little bit more insight into you as a person, and what this particular grant means to you and how it will benefit you and your career. Okay, so this is very important, your work samples. So we need um, 3 work samples that are current within the past 4 years. We need a performance sample, a choreography sample, and then another one of your choosing. But they need to be labeled. They can't be longer than 15 minutes each. And if you give us a complete, like let's say you have a performance, let us know who you are, especially if it's a group, so it's easy to identify you. So we're not evaluating the wrong person. Um, Let us know what the time markers are. If you send us a 30-minute excerpt from a performance, um, the panelists don't have time to review all 30 minutes. They only are going to watch 15 minutes. And so if you don't give us a time marker, they're just going to watch the first 15 minutes. And maybe that's not your best part. So make sure you tell us what you want us to watch. If it's less than 15 minutes, then it's fine to indicate it as complete to watch the entire thing. Again, if you're showing group work, let us know who you are, and then make sure that we can view your video, ideally unpassword protected. But if it has to be password protected, make sure you give it to us because we're not going to come back to you and ask you to do it. And that'll be a disadvantage to you that the panelists could not evaluate your work. Again, the deadline is March 25th, a Wednesday at 11:59 p.m., so midnight. If you have any questions before then, that's fine. You can reach out to Justine, but make sure you put this in your calendar. If you get it in sooner than the deadline, that would be great. Okay. How we're going to decide who gets this. So there are these 4 main categories: artistic merit, development of new or existing work, your community impact, and your potential for growth. So artistic merit, what does that mean? Um, are you demonstrating, a skill in a style that that you're working with? Are you exhibiting, years of, um, you know, dedication to this craft? How can we evaluate? Again, that's why it's very important that your work samples, that we can identify you and that your work samples are well lit so we can see what you're doing. Again, so there isn't a stipulation whether it's like a tight shot or a wide shot, as long as we can clearly see you and what you're doing. That's the most important thing. And we want to know if you have a vision, like, is there something that's unique and consistent, both through your narrative and the work that you do? For example, if you say, you really want to be groundbreaking and, you want to bring a new style to the world or to the community, and then you're showing us like, you know, images of classical ballet performances, that's not coherent, right? So we want to make sure that your narrative, your thoughts, your demonstration, your skills are all aligned. Um, okay, let's see. So next, development of new or existing work. So again, we just want to know, like, is there something unique or creative about what you plan to do through this? It's helpful if there is something either obviously in your narrative or in the video sample that you can express to the panel. Um, what your work is about and what you hope to achieve, and then, demonstrate that through narrative and visual. And then it's also important, again, like, how is this work, how does this show an evolution in your career? Again, if you, have been performing the Nutcracker for 20 years and you show us a Nutcracker sample and you want to do a Nutcracker, well, it doesn't really show evolution, or, that this is going to really help you. So talking about, how will this, whether it's, through the mentor or the coach, or, just having the opportunity, how is this going to help you make the next step in your career? Because that's really what we're here for. Um, we want to know, does, also, again, like talking about community impact, I had mentioned that. How do you plan to support the community or the field? What forms of leadership or roles have you taken in the past? Do you organize, you know, I don't know, ciphers with other API artists? Do you, always engage other artists, API artists, when you have the opportunity to perform? Just share with us, what you would like to do for the field, what you've done in the past. Um, yeah. Okay, again, it's important. We really want this to make a difference in your career. So let us know, like, why is it meaningful? Is it maybe you just need the money and you need the money to pay your rent so you can be an artist? But what are the aspects of this that are really meaningful to you personally? Um, and how is it going to help you? How is it going to help you in your career? Again, like I said, if somebody has 20 awards and they're a resident artist somewhere, like, why would you need this too? What is this going to make a difference? So help us understand, what this means and why it's important. Because it's a really valuable career opportunity. So just a few thoughts before, I take a few questions. So, review the eligibility criteria before you submit it, because otherwise you'll be omitted if you put in like a New Jersey address or your birth date's outside of it or whatever. Make sure that that is not the case. Um, Make sure that your language is concise, clear. Um, if you use AI, a lot of people use AI, but we really want to hear your voice. It's fine to clean up your ideas with that, but we really, again, we want to know what this means to you. If we get, 20 applications that say the same thing because they've all used the same chat GPT prompt, that might not look so good. It might not show, that this is really that unique to you. So just make sure that this reflects your personal thoughts, identity, hope, wishes, creative career. Um, we aren't impressed with big words. We want clear, understandable language. This is not some of the panelists may be academics, but for the most part, they're presenters. And this is important that, again, we truly understand you and it's a heartfelt response as opposed to, the most eloquently, dance journal type of language that doesn't matter to us as much. And just let us know, who you are, right, with confidence. So we want to know, like, I am this, I do this, I will do this. So yeah, just bring your full self, bring your full self to this. I talked before to make sure that the narrative and the goals and the work samples are all in alignment. So again, that will be a trigger if something seems really amiss. All your samples reflect one thing when your goals are something else, unless that is clearly defined. You're saying like, I've been pigeonholed in these roles. This will give me the opportunity to break out of it. That's fine. But again, it just has to make sense, right? Um, Again, the work samples, make sure they're in focus. They don't have to be super high quality, but we need to be able to see them and make out, who you are, what you're doing. Um, you know, Show your best self. Show us your work. Let us know your unique voice. That is what makes or breaks an application, right? We want yeah, you to share what you've got, what you want to say to the world. So just make sure that that comes through very clearly in your work samples. Um, okay, so just to recap the timeline here. Um, so we are having our virtual information session today. Submissions, I will say this once more for the last time. They close at midnight or 11:59. The portal will be shut down at midnight, so you have to get your submission in by 11:59 on March 25th. The panel will be reviewing all of the applications. So it'll take um, about a month for them because we have to assemble them, send them out, they've got to review them. So it'll take about a month to do that. And then we hold our panel online. Um, and then after the panelists come to an agreement, we will notify the selected fellow on the 24th. Make sure that you have included a working phone number so that we can let you know because we will call you. We will not email you. And then we, again, like a week later, we'll turn it around and make a public announcement. So that's why we ask for your bio and your headshot in advance so we can get this prepared. And then your fellowship begins May 7th. So you'll have or May 8th. And so that's how it works. So if you have questions, again, you can reach out to Justine J. Lee at aaartsalliance.org, or you can call her and leave her a message, and she'll get back to you. So I think we can stop sharing now and we can open it up for questions. Thank you, Addie. I really appreciate your help sharing the screen. And now, if anybody wants to ask a question, you can either raise your virtual hand or your real hand, and I will answer any questions. And if nobody has questions, that's fine. Again, feel free to reach out to us later, but I will say I wish you all the best of luck in submitting a successful application. And I really appreciate you all being here today. And again, last chance to ask questions. Okay, Joan, you have a question? You want to unmute and ask your question?
I have three questions, but they're all like quick, easy ones.
Hmm.
One is I know you said the resume is what the panel will be using to like get a sense of what you've done. Is there like a page limit to the resume? Would you like it to just be one page?
No, no page limit.
Okay, that's one. For the performance sample, I think it might be a case for a lot of dancers that like maybe the parts that they like are in different parts of the piece. Is that something you're against us like cutting in a video from one thing to the next, or would you like it to be more continuous?
Um, it is, no, it's up to you. Like, if, I mean, it's nice to see, a 15-minute piece, but if you want to cut like a highlight reel and include that, that's okay, as long as it doesn't exceed 15 minutes. And we don't want the panelists to have to start and stop, so it's better if you pre-cut that, if that's what you plan to do.
All right, thank you. And last question, can the choreography sample, like for example, if I wanted to send in a film that I'm currently working on, is it okay that I'm submitting not the final cut of the film if it isn't ready, but I feel like it represents my choreography in enough?
Yeah, I mean, as long as it clearly, exemplifies your work, um, that's all that we're looking for. So people that, the panelists, they really want to understand your voice, like what you have to say as a dancer, as a choreographer, your language. And so as long as, it doesn't have to be, Academy Award ready, but people, as long as they can really see your voice, that's the most important thing.
All right, okay, that's all. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
sure.
You have a
Um,
question in the chat.
Gabe wants to know if it's advantageous to send in applications early, or will the panelists see them all at once? Does it help to send it in when the pool is smaller? It actually makes no difference when you send it in. I do have to say, like, if something is missing, if it's sent in earlier, we have a better chance of catching it and alerting you. Um, but we may, um, ideally, it's all based on merit and your work and that we send a complete package to the panelists. Because if we didn't, they could lose stuff or, not everybody's seeing the same thing in the same order. So we give them the full thing all at once. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if not, then again, I want to thank you all for joining today. Feel free to reach out if you have questions. Again, jlee@aaartsalliance.org. And all of these questions will also be added to the FAQ on the website. So as we get them, we'll add them. So thank you again. Good luck with your applications. I'm looking forward to seeing them.